Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 3 of the Tour de France, brought to you by Ketone Aid. I'm told the pros, when we're talking about Astana and Pseudo Quick Step, they use $50 of Ketone Aid every day. That's a ton of Ketone Aid to use. So if you need to save 15%, click the link down below, use code BUTTERFLY, and you'll save yourself 15% on your next order of Ketone Aid. Now let's get into today's race because it's the first sprinter stage. We're talking about stage 3, 230 kilometers, and we got Mark Cavendish trying to break the record, but we got a host of sprinters. Wout van Aert tried to win stage 1. Now he is a field sprinter, so he might try to win stage 3 here too. And then you got last year's green jersey that he's going to have to beat, Jasper Philipsen from Albacete de Koenig, who has the current road world champion Mathieu van der Poel leading him out. Now we got a host of other sprinters. It's a quality field because we're at the Tour de France. But we got another dilemma to look at on today's stage 3. There's all kinds of problems because there's 4 guys that are sharing co-leadership right now. We got Jonas Vingegaard, he's a co-leader. We got Carapaz from EF Education, Remco Evenepoel, and we got Tadej Pogačar wearing the race leader's yellow jersey, but they're all tight on time. So you know Carapaz would love the race leader's yellow jersey for EF Education. Remco Evenepoel, I'm not so sure, but the Belgium kid, first time doing the Tour de France, he might like it. Jonas Vingegaard, he's wore it many times before. I don't think he cares. And Tadej Pogačar, well, he's won the Tour de France twice too, so he probably doesn't care much about it either. But we're going to see at the finish of today's stage, because anytime it's a sprint stage, that means you can start getting some separations in terms of the placings on the stage. And right now, when all the time between the 4 leaders at the front are solidly the same, you know there's only 5, 6, 7, 8, 15 different places that are dividing these 4 guys. There's 0 time. So if you can get 15 guys in front of one of the guys wearing the race leader's yellow jersey like Tadej Pogačar, or a few guys in front of Remco Evenepoel, or a couple in front of Jonas Vingegaard, or you flip it all back around again, well, Tadej Pogačar could keep yellow if he finishes in front of him. Basically what I'm saying, you got to stay tuned all the way to kilometer 0 to find out who's going to be race leader at the end of today's stage 3 of the Tour de France. Now when the race finally rolls out in kilometer 0, once we hit it with 230 kilometers to go, nothing happens. Go back to bed. It's a sleeper. Nothing's happening. Once we get into about 80 kilometers to go, the director sportif from Visma Lease Bike hops on the radio and he says, guys, it's time to wake up. Get up. It's time to get up. Get out of bed. Get ready to race the Tour de France. They've only been going for 150 kilometers, 100 miles in length, but now it's time to wake up with 80 kilometers to go, about 50 miles. 65 kilometers to go, we see the first and only attack here on stage 3 with Fabien Grillet there from Total Energies going up the road. Marvelous plan. 65 kilometers to go. You just got to get out there and do a little bit of work for Total Energy, and you can grab yourself the most combative jersey at the end of today's stage. He'll get that when he gets wrapped up with 30 kilometers to go. Now, if you're really awake, if the Visma Director Sportif didn't wake you up at 80 kilometers to go while his rider, Wout van Aert, was still sitting at the back talking to Stuyvens back there with 80 kilometers to go, hopefully you're getting up with 25 kilometers to go, because now it's starting to get nervous. It's getting curb to curb. We got all the GC teams up there, and we got Albacete de Koenig, so we got a few sprinter teams, a ton of GC teams at the front, and we get into about 22 kilometers to go. If I give you a little advanced knowledge on what's happening in today's race, well, under 20 kilometers to go, there's about 15, 16, 17 roundabouts. There's more roundabouts than I can count. They're all over the place, littering the field. You start getting into 1.1 kilometers to go, there's 2 left turns. Then you go into 700 meters. There's the last left turn that once you come out of 7, you go into 500. That's the last left, straight into the finish. So there's obstacles all over the last 20 kilometers of today's race if you're a GC team trying to get into the 5K rule. They've bumped it from 3K to 5K on today's stage 3. It's a practice run for the UCI. So all the general classification favorites have to get into 5 kilometers to go if they don't want to lose time. But remember, if you're a GC favorite and you're one of the 4 names I already mentioned, Carapaz, Jonas, Remco Evenepoel, Tadej Pogačar, well, you got to get all the way into kilometer 0 if you want the race leader's yellow jersey. So there's a big time battle going down with 22 kilometers to go. We start looking from above. It's UAE team members. UAE team members were told from their director sportif, we want the left side, so you see Sivakov's on the left. Now they start going through the first multiple roundabouts coming here. Sivakov's flying through. He picked the long way around this roundabout going the left. He's sprinting full gas, but he's got Niels Paulette and he's gapping him off too much. This is inexperience from Sivakov right now. He's pulling too hard, and Niels Paulette's wising up because he's got Tadej Pogačar back there. So Sivakov's going full gas up there. Back to film up to the beginning of this roundabout. Look over on the right side. That's Jan Tratnik. That's Jonas Vingegaard going through the inside of this roundabout, and they took the short way. So now they're quite a ways in front of Sivakov, who's sprinting like crazy without his leader on his wheel. So as you look at Jan Tratnik, he's looking over left. He realizes he's way in front of UAE Team Emirates, and they went the left side of the road too. So Jan Tratnik just moves over with Jonas Vingegaard all the way to the left, and Sivakov's getting all his feathers ruffled. He comes back up on the right side there, and then he starts bumping over on Jan Tratnik as Niels Paulette and Tadej Pogačar's coming up. This wasn't a real wise move from Sivakov. At this moment, you already lost the left. It was your fault for coming through the left side of the roundabout. You're too far back. You left your teammates. Then you pass Jan Tratnik, and of course we see a little bumping with Jan Tratnik and Sivakov. Sivakov's getting upset. Jan Tratnik's getting upset. Then the camera shows the front angle of what's happening, and you see Jan Tratnik just thrown over there like, dude, I'm already over here on the left side of the road. I'm sorry, you went the wrong way around the roundabout, and then you took it too aggressive, so I had to give you a little bump. And then you see Sivakov, well, he doesn't even want to look anymore because he knows Jan Tratnik is probably the more experienced rider, and Sivakov made a mistake. Now they're coming up into the next roundabout. Niels Paulette with Tadej Pogačar in the race leader's yellow jersey started coming up on the back wheel there. Sivakov, like I told you. But Niels Paulette doesn't want to be anywhere near Sivakov when he's battling there with Jan Tratnik because they might crash and take down the race leader's yellow jersey. And the next roundabout's coming up. Niels Paulette doesn't want to get caught behind the roundabout, so he moves to the right with Tadej Pogačar and goes around the right side of the roundabout, comes out and then puts his whole UAE Team Emirates on the left side of the road. Sivakov's dropping back now because he wasted too much energy at the front at 60 kilometers an hour, sprinting out of the roundabouts, arguing with Jan Tratnik when your sole job is to look after Tadej Pogačar. So now he's dropping out the back. Niels Paulette, Tim Wellens is going to have to go to work on the left side there with Niels Paulette to keep Tadej Pogačar in a fine position. Visma Lease bikes there. We start looking over to the right side of the road. Albacin de Koenig's lined up on the right side of the road too, and it's a drag race going into all these roundabouts. UAE Team members, like I said, they went the long way around with Sivakov on the first one. They started figuring out the second and third. Now all of a sudden the favorite way to go through the roundabout, instead of it being the right, becomes the left. UAE Team Emirates and Jonas Vingegaard's Visma Lease bikes doing a solid job of going around the left. We come up to 15 kilometers to go. Michael Kwiatkowski's on the right side. Look at the veteran ex-road world champion here from Ineos doing a fine job right now with Carlos Rodriguez on his wheel. All the way on the right side of the road, but he's looking ahead. His head's up, he's looking at the roundabout, and they're aware right now that it could be the left side, could be the right side, it could be even when you go through any one of these roundabouts. So Kwiatkowski's already telling Carlos Rodriguez, we got to go to the left because that's a short way. So Kwiatkowski goes to the left side. He goes through the roundabout solid with Carlos on his wheel, and they come out in good position. Now we're coming into about 13 kilometers to go. As they go through the roundabout, there's an island there. As we see the island, we look at the back of the peloton there. That's Casper Pedersen from Pseudo Quickstep coming up on the inside, on the left inside there of the island. And as he's coming up, well, I'm going to assume he's either bumping his bars or getting tangled with the riders coming from the other side of the roundabout. Casper Pedersen's going to go down hard crash. He's going to finish today's stage, but he's going to need some x-rays on his shoulder. We look at the front of the peloton. Visma Lease bikes in good position. UAE Team Emirates in good position. And Intermarché starting to line up. They got 6 riders here trying to do the sprint because they got Kobe Goosen and they got Louis Menkes at the very back of the peloton because those are their GC guys. So that means they have 2 sprinters. Gerben Thiessen there is their main sprinter for fast sprints, curb-to-curb action, straight ways down the line. That's what he's good at. But they got Biniam Girmay, the Eritrean. Now we start looking over to the right. It's Albacin de Koenig over there, and they're lined up with their own guys, and it's the Road World Championship. Matthew van der Poel, that's in front of Jasper Philipsen, last year's green jersey wearer here at the Tour de France. We start looking over to the left side of the road. We see the radio contact come up from Astana car. Remember, the contact from the radios always appearing 1-2 kilometers later, but we start seeing the Astana director say, hey, we want to get up there in front of the GC teams, UAE Team Emirates and Visma Lease bike. We want to get in front of them. I start giggling on the couch. You're not getting in front of Tadej Pogačar's, Niels Paulette up here. You're not going to get in front of UAE Team Emirates. You're not going to get in front of Visma Lease bike. If you're going to say it correctly there and you're the director sportif from Astana, say get up alongside or say get on the wheel there of Visma Lease bike or UAE Team Emirates, because there's no way Astana is going to be able to go past 2 quality teams like that. And it's curb to curb. Now we start looking under 9 kilometers ago. Wout van Aert's over there with Albacine de Koenig. We see the Biniam Girmay. He's there close to Mads Pedersen. We go into 6.3 kilometers ago. There's another crash from Bruno Arma. That's the Decathlon AG2R. I don't know how he did it, but the bike just kind of spun around and then he went down. Then shortly after that, Matthew van der Poel, just over 6 kilometers ago, he's having a problem. He's got to change bikes. He changes bikes, gets on his spare bikes and starts sprinting as fast as he can. But every time they show him, he's about 40 seconds back. Eventually, he's going to have to sit up. But first, we go back up to the front of the group as it's curb to curb coming into 5 kilometers ago. Check out the lady there on the right side of the road, left of your screen, wearing the kind of pink or salmon colored top right there, stepped too far out in the road as the peloton's coming full gas curb to curb. This is a nightmare for Albacine de Koenig and all the riders on the right side of the course there. Luckily, the lady's just starting to back out of the way, but she's still in the curb as the peloton comes straight by. She's still in the gutter. Now we look back there and you could just see a picture. She's still standing. She's still in the gutter, so the peloton must have just been brazing right past her. We go into 3.5 kilometers ago. Now it's EF Education on the front. Carapaz wants a race leader's yellow jersey, so EF Education are drilling as hard as they can to keep Carapaz out of trouble. Go into 2.5 kilometers just about. There's a crash on the right side of the road. Big crash taking down all kinds of riders there. But when we start looking at Laporte, looking backwards there, he made it through the crash. He's looking back. I assume that means Wout van Aert's back there. Otherwise, Laporte wouldn't have been hesitating looking back. We start looking at the back there once we start seeing the crash. Well, we see Albacine de Koenig got held up. One of those is Jasper Philipsen. As he's out of the picture, that starts going back up to the front of the peloton, the camera angle. There are about 50 riders. It's not the whole field made it through this crash, but we start seeing with under 2 kilometers ago, about 1.8, 1.7, Intermarché on the left side of the road. We look, Trek is sitting there in the center. That's Gibbons there, Ryan Gibbons, the South African jersey. He's trying to do the lead out because he's got Jasper Stuyvens and Mads Pedersen in good position as they're driving down the center of the road. Looking over to the right, DSM's in a drag race right now with Intermarché. They get a little bit deeper into the stage 3. Intermarché's leading, but they lost their 4th rider on the front. Now they're down to 3 riders. We're talking about 1.3 kilometers ago as Intermarché's drilling on the front with Lawrence Rex. Mike Tunison, stage winner here in 2019 at the Tour de France and got the race leader's jersey in 2019. He's sitting second wheel, just on the wheel there of Lawrence Rex in front of him. Just behind him, that's his sprinter right there, Gerbens. Now Gerbens is there. He's the 3rd rider, but three riders at 1.3 kilometers ago. It's going to be a tall order. Biniam Girmay's in the picture, so they really got 4, but he's a little too far back at this moment as Intermarché is going full gas with 1.1 kilometer to go. Now we're coming up to the first of the final last 3 left turns with 1.1 kilometer to go. We see Lawrence Rex going full gas. Mike Tunison sitting second. 3rd, Gerbens. I said, we look a little further back. What we see, that's Lotto Destiny right there. That's Cedric. We look behind him. It's the Decathlon AG2R with 2 riders there. That's Nason and that's Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett's won stages here at the Tour de France and the green jersey in 2020. He wants some redemption and he's in a good position. Behind Sam Bennett, host of talented riders still back there as Stuyvens, Mads Pedersen, Biniam Girmay are all lined up just a further back in the top 10 still. Now between the first and the second corner, we're going to see Cedric from Lotto Destiny there. He's looking back. He's trying to find Arnaud Delis, who's out of position. We look at the same time while he was looking back, Stuyvens is looking back over his shoulder left and right because he's trying to find Mads Pedersen. I back you up into that corner as we see Mads Pedersen was getting swarmed on both sides. There's nothing he could do. He had to back off the throttle, but he's losing his sprinter's wheel up there as Stuyvens is trying to find him. Now, what are these guys going to do? Well, we're coming into the second left corner here, and as we're coming in the second, Lawrence Rex is done with about 700 meters to go. He's pulling off to the right. Mike Tunison, stage winner of the Tour de France, he's coming through the inside there. He's trying to lead out his man back there, Gerbens, as that's his sprinter, but Biniam Girmay still back there somewhere around Mads Pedersen, just in front of him, as Mads Pedersen was getting pinched off. Now, as Mike Tunison's got the front, he's coming into the last and final corner with about 500 meters to go. As he's flying through the corner with his sprinter on his wheel, you got to believe his legs are getting tired. And you look at Cedric from Lotto Destiny, he's pulling out hard right because he knows Arnaud Delis is nowhere in the picture. Stuyvens is still staying there. DSM's Fabio Jakobsen is in the picture and solid with a chance here of winning stage 3. Look further behind him. What's happening there? Well, Mads Pedersen is still in the picture, but he's a little bit off Stuyvens' wheel, who's sitting up there here just behind AG2R. As AG2R is starting to see that Mike Tunison's starting to blow hard to the left. AG2R's Nason throws in a huge acceleration at about 400 meters, 450 meters to go. He starts his acceleration as Mike Tunison starts to blow. With that acceleration, we'll see Sam Bennett sitting second wheel. He's coming into 350 meters to go, but Nason's starting to blow. What's Sam Bennett going to do? He's got to pull up right now. He's got to do the same thing Gerbins did, as Gerbins' teammate Mike Tunison started to pull up as AG2R went flying by him. Now Sam Bennett's got to pull up. He's got to back off the pedals because 350 meters to go, it's too far for the Irish rider to win stage 3 if he jumps from here. So he backs off the throttle at 350. As he's backing off, look at Stuyvesant on the right side. That little Trek rider starting his attack going up the right side. At the same time, Mads Pedersen's going up the left. Will they meet in the middle? I don't know, but you start looking there at Stuyvesant as he's coming up the right side. He's got Arnold De Lee on his wheel. Biniam Girmay slotted into third position as they're coming around the decathlon AG2R rider Sam Bennett, and he's trying to get back on the wheel. Mads Pedersen's flying up the left side. Fernando Gaviria from Movistar, the Colombian's on his wheel, coming around the right side. Now Mads gets up to the back wheel there of Stuyvesant, but he can't get in the draft. Stuyvesant looks over his shoulder, realizes Mads can't get in the draft because Arnold De Lee is occupying the space right now. So Mads Pedersen's just got to go. He's throws on the kick there. He's starting to go with about 225 meters to go. Biniam Girmay's coming up the right side, passing Arnold De Lee there. Sam Bennett's blocked. He can't do anything about it. Fernando Gaviria still following the left side there, trying to win today's stage 3. As we see Mads Pedersen go from the left side to the right, almost all the way over to the fencing as Biniam Girmay's coming up the fencing. Mads Pedersen holds steady, though, leaves the gap there. Biniam Girmay does not slow down. The Eritrean throwing full gas for Intermarché. He wasn't even supposed to have a shot at winning. Now he's leading right here as he's starting to pass Mads Pedersen. Fernando Gaviria is coming up fast. Arnold De Lee there, he's bumping over on the right side. We got about 50 meters to go. The Eritrean with 40 meters to go is solidly in the lead. He sits up with 10 meters to go, celebrates the victory here for Intermarché and of course for Eritrea. Now, when we're talking about second, it was a bike throw. Fernando Gaviria will get second. Arnold De Lee will hold on for a podium spot here. Mads Pedersen drifted to fourth. It was a fantastic finish. Now, if I back it up just a hair, let's look at the bunch back there. It's about 25, 30 guys. Well, it's EF Education. Carapaz! He made it through the crash, made it in the front group here, finished in the top 25. He'll put himself in the race leader's yellow jersey at the end of today's stage 3. It was a sleeper throughout 230 kilometers from the start all the way into about 25 kilometers to go. So you got to go ahead and let the first 205 kilometers go by. Watch the last 25 because it was definitely magnificent. And the Eritrean Biniam Girmay, man, did you have some nerves of steel coming up the right side fencing there. Now, if I dissect some of the tactics here, well, it got a little bit interesting, right? Stuyvesant was looking back and forth for his teammate Mads Pedersen as they lost him through that first left turn there of 3 to go. And then, of course, that messed up their rhythm. Now, Stuyvesant, when he jumped at 350 meters to go, I don't think he should have did it. If it was me, I would have pulled out just like Cedric did from Lotto Destiny. I would have pulled out and moved hard right and then just let my sprinter have to figure out. And hopefully there's some chaos up there so Mads Pedersen can come up. Instead, he hit full gas at the same time Mads Pedersen was coming up the other side. But that's not the only complaint I have. When I started looking at Intermarché, yes, they won with the Eritrean Biniam Girmay. He did nothing wrong. He was spotless. He was a floater sprinter. He wasn't a pure sprinter like Gerbins Thiesens is. So he was a floater sprinter back there. He needs chaos. He needs something to happen. So when you really look at Intermarché's tactics, remember they got 2 guys that are racing for general classification or racing for stage wins, mountain to stage wins, when Louis Menkes and Kobe Goosen. So they're only down to 6. One of them is the floater, Biniam Girmay. The other's their sprinter. But when you're coming into 1.3 kilometers to go with only 2 guys left in front of your sprinter, and Lawrence Rex is up there, and Mike Tunison is up there, I'm going into that first or second left turn, and I'm opening up the gap right there so that the non-sprinter, the lead-out guys have to come around me and close the gap. And then if I'm Gerbin, I can slot back in because maybe he knew where Biniam Girmay was. Maybe he knew they had a second plan B back there that it would work out the way it did. But if you are plan A always has to think about the win, which means he's got to open up the gap, let his 2 teammates go, have the other teams from behind have to close that, and then Gerbin can put himself in a better position instead of coming out with the last corner with 500, 400 meters to go, and then having to fight to get back in. The same problem that Sam Bennett had at 350 meters to go. He had to let his teammate Nason go up the road coming out of the last final corner when he started his sprint, because Nason didn't have the legs to get him all the way in the finish after he blew 100, 150 meters to go. Little bit harder to plan that your teammate Oliver Nason there, you don't know he's going to blow in such a short distance, but he did, and that left Sam Bennett hanging out to dry. Of course, Intermarché got hanging out to dry, but Podium Gourmet, well, he cleaned up all the mess from Intermarché, came up the right side, threaded the needle there from Mads Pedersen, who left the door open the right way that he was supposed to. Podium Gourmet wins a fantastic Stage 3 of the Tour de France. Hope you guys like the tactics here that I gave you here on Stage 3. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're back into the mountains for Stage 4 of the Tour de France tomorrow, so I'll see you real soon.